Hey buddy, watch this.
Hello, hello, Regis Kilbin is the name, and Hearthstone is the game. And today I'm going to be proposing something a little bit different. I'm calling it the Invalid Deck Challenge. Now, I don't know if you know this, but anytime you go to create a deck in Hearthstone, and you'll notice the list is empty, if you just go ahead and hit done, the game will warn you that this is an invalid deck. You're 30 cards short of a full deck. Do you want to finish it automatically? Now, sane people would hit no, but crazy people like me are actually going to hit yes. And you'll see some wild card suggestions piling into this list. So the Invalid Deck Challenge is actually taking this list and trying to win a game. Now that said, it's just too tough to play with cards like Secret Keeper and Tournament Attendee in a random deck. So I'm adding one small rule to the Invalid Deck Challenge, and that is that I can swap out 3 cards. So I can take 3 of these cards I don't want and swap in new ones. So you may be asking yourself, why on earth would you ever do this? What advantage is there to playing with a terrible random deck? And I actually think that there are a few. Because as I identify the weakest cards in this list and review the list, we're actually going to learn a little bit about deck building and mana curves and tempo and valuable cards versus weaker cards. And as we play games as well, you'll see interactions and synergies and cards that you're probably not used to seeing or thinking about or using. And we'll identify some opportunities to make those cards good and actually make plays with cards that might seem weak at first glance, but who knows, we might unlock something pretty cool. So the challenging aspect is that I take this list, swap out 3 cards of my choice, then I have 3 games to win with the deck in casual mode. Now I'm not going to subject myself to ranked play with a deck like this, primarily because I don't want people to make fun of me on Reddit, but also because I don't think that's as fun as playing in casual mode, where you're more likely to see other unusual decks to face off against, and you won't hurt your rank. So, since we went ahead and made this deck as an example for our first ever Invalid Deck Challenge, I think we'll go ahead and play with Warrior. We'll name it Invalid Deck number 1. We'll save that, and we'll take a look at this list real quickly. Let's see what we've got. Let's see what the Hearthstone gods, RNGesus, has given us. So, looking at our curve first off, it's actually not too bad. We have some early game options. Looks like we're a little light at the 3 mana spot. Can't mouse there, but we also have a few late game cards, it looks like, as well, and a nice kind of bell curve, hefty middle game, which makes this look like it's a mid-range deck in general. But let's see what kind of cards actually make up this deck. So, first off, we have Execute. That's good removal, single target removal. That's nice. Whirlwind is good in this metagame in particular, removing lots of little stuff. Argent Squire is a nice early game drop. Secret Keeper is virtually useless to Warrior. They don't have secrets. Could be a counter to Mage or Paladin or Hunter in a sense, but so far it looks like the weakest card in the list, as we want sticky 1-drops that offer value, and Secret Keeper most of the time won't do that for this deck. Tournament Attendee, it looks bad at first glance. It's just a 2-1 taunt. But having any taunt can sometimes make all the difference. And having an aggressive early game minion doesn't always hurt either. So depending on how much other aggression we have later on in this deck and how much damage we can put together, I might keep Tournament Attendee. This looks like a mid-range deck, so that might just be too weak. But if it's an aggressive... If the deck tends towards aggression, this one might be okay. Battle Rage, it's a great card. It's a fantastic card draw in certain situations, particularly in decks like Patron Warrior. But I don't know that we have enough sticky minions in this deck or ways to do damage to our own minions that we're likely to see value from Battle Rage. At the very worst, it's probably going to be our face that draws a card and maybe a single minion, which isn't actually too bad. So, and we do need card draw, so keeping one of these wouldn't hurt, and probably both. Commanding Shout, another 2-mana card draw spell. that also allows us to make some fun trades. Occasionally it's not bad. It's not the most common warrior card, but I think it'll be okay. Moving on, Heroic Strike. Another 2-mana spell. We have 4 2-mana spells. And we're a little light on 2-mana minions. That's a little scary, right? Because you want bodies in the early game. You don't constantly want to be reacting, particularly because these aren't even reactive cards in the first place. These are resource generation cards. So we have a couple early game minions to build the board, but we don't really have follow-ups. We have 3 2-drops that if we get, they'll be okay, but not particularly great. So a 4th 2-mana spell is a little scary, but Heroic Strike does allow us to clear off virtually anything that could be played in the first 3 turns of the game. Plus, it's just direct damage that might help us win games, so I'm okay with this card. Alexstrasza's Champion. It's a great minion if we have a dragon, because its battle cry is predicated on having a dragon. Do we have any dragons? Oh, wow. The Hearthstone gods are good to us, folks. We got some nice late game minions. This is a sick trio. But we don't have any dragons, it looks like. So it seems like Alexstrasza's Champion won't be good. It'll just be average, a 2/3 for 2, that's fine. Bloodfin Raptor, pretty weak 2-drop. It just dies so easily and doesn't do anything exciting, but it's fine. We do need some early game bodies. Haunted Creeper, on the other hand, is a pretty solid 2-drop that allows us to do some fun things, but it's pretty bad synergy with Whirlwind. It will die to Whirlwind pretty easily on the Death Rattle, so that's not great, but still, it's a good value minion. Bouncing Blade. That could be good removal if we run up to some scary decks. So I like Bouncing Blade, okay. Charge. Give a friendly minion +2 attack and charge. That's okay. We don't have anything to really combo with it, it looks like. I mean, we have some big minions. Like, if we could actually use it with Eerie Statue on an empty board, that'd be fun. Even Magnetor Alpha with charge could be pretty neat. It'd be a 7-attack minion that trades into a Dr. Boom and clears like 2 big things beside it, using its effect that damages any minions next to the minion it attacks. And of course, too, just any of our bigger minions with high attack could enable something like 7 to 9 damage in a single turn on an empty board, which, doing 10 damage from the hand is never bad. Acolyte of Pain is pretty solid. It works well with Bouncing Blade. It works well with Whirlwind. It's more card draw, which is good, because we do actually have some mid and late game threats, so if we get up on cards, that'll be nice. Warsong Commander is awful. Ever since it got nerfed, it's really, really bad. It's just an understated 3-attack minion, and it doesn't look like we really have any charge minions to benefit from it at all, so it's even worse than normal. That's pretty bad. I might actually consider dropping Warsong Commander along with Secret Keeper for a more valuable 3-drop, because we're light on 3-drops as it stands. In fact, we only have 1 3-mana minion, so picking out a better 3-drop might be pretty valuable for us. Deathspite's great. Synergy with Acolyte does some cool stuff. Synergy with where is it? Battle Rage as well. So Deathspite's fantastic. Really, really good card. A Rathai Weaponsmith. Not great as a 3/3 for 4. That's not a great stat line. It doesn't trade very well with many things, but having more weapons is good because our deck's light on weapons for Warrior. Looks like we have just the Deathspite, so even 2/2 weapons are fine. This isn't a bad tempo card. Depending on the situation, could be very valuable. So I'm okay with having 2 of these. That said, I just remembered we do have a Reno Jackson, so we have 3 2-ofs: Battle Rage, Weaponsmith, and Siege Engine. To trigger Reno Jackson's effect, we can't have duplicate cards in our deck, so it's almost an argument to be made that we should drop 1 of each of these instead of 1 of our bad cards, just to know that we have a Reno reliability, but I don't think I can afford to get rid of 2 Siege Engines, just because they're going to be pretty good minions later on as big bodies. But I'll have to consider it. I don't know how bad Secret Keeper is. Moving on to Axe Flinger. This is another understated 4-drop. It's a 2/5, which doesn't trade particularly well with many things. And its effect, while sometimes good, is not necessarily fantastic in this deck. I don't think this is really an aggro deck. If we had way more early game drops, this might be great, just to pile on more face damage, along with things like Heroic Strike. But we really don't, so this is kind of just going to be a weak 2/5, I feel like. Alternatively, Eerie's Statue is a really big, well-statted 4-drop, but its effect is very limiting. We don't have a silence to activate it. We do have some removal like Bouncing Blade and Execute, which might enable it to attack occasionally, but we don't have a taunt activator either, which would be really nice. So it's very likely this is going to be a 4-drop that never does anything. Lost Tall Strider is a fine minion, trades well in his 5 and 6 drops. It's not great because it dies to Piloted Shredder, but it's fine. We can work with that. Magnetar Alpha. I'm glad this card's in the deck because it's really quite intriguing of a card that I haven't seen experimented with much. Its biggest problem is that it has 3 health, and that's just so susceptible to 2-drops, to Frost Bolts, to Dark Bombs, all that stuff. So it dies very easily, but I think if you ever get to attack with Magnetar Alpha and it clears more than 1 minion, that you feel pretty good about it. So I'll be excited to see this card in action and see if we can actually make it work. Then there's Tournament Medic. This actually is a card that's run in Control Warrior decks from time to time, so I don't think it's great in this deck because we just don't have a lot of ways to do anything with it. At 1 attack, it's not very good. We're probably not going to be able to survive super late into the late game just because we don't have really good curve or really good value minions, and our deck is below average in general. But if it buys us a turn or two, or trades into some 1/1s, we might be happy with it. Mookless Champion, though, does actually make some of these awkwardly statted cards like Axe Flinger and Tournament Medic a little better, just because they're likely to stick around on the board for a turn or two, which means it might enable a Mookless Champion buff, which makes them like 3 attack and 2 attack minions, which are much stronger. So there might be some synergies there, actually. That's pretty intriguing. It's also good with like Haunted Creeper and Acolyte of Pain, so Mookless might be fun to play with. I just think we're going to have trouble staying ahead on the board because our curve's a little weaker, so we may never actually get a good Mookless Champion turn. Siege Engine. This is another warrior minion, much like Axe Flinger or Magnetar Alpha, that doesn't really get played a lot. Whenever you gain armor, give this minion +1 attack. That might mean it's a 6/5 at a base level, which is fine, but not especially better than a 5/5. But even as a 5/5, it's fine in this particular deck just because we will need bodies to round out our curve in the late game. So I'm intrigued to see what these can do. If they got up to like 7 or 8 attack and did some damage, that'd be fun, but I doubt that will happen. Emperor Thorson, of course, is a fantastic legendary, one of the best cards in the game, with an incredible effect that reduces all your cards' cost by 1. This thing could carry some weight, because these cards on average are weak, so being weak and cheap is worse than being weak and normally priced. So maybe if we get this guy out on curve and have some resources, we might be able to make something happen. Reno Jackson, another card with an incredible effect and a nice body, much like Emperor Thorson, one of the best cards in the game. It does require that we don't have duplicate cards in our deck for the heal to go off. So if we want to make Reno work in this deck, we could get rid of Siege Engine, Weaponsmith, and a Battle Rage, which might be worth it. But I actually think that curve is more important, and value in the early to mid game is more important than getting the Reno effect every time. Because there will also be instances where we draw these 3 cards, and we only have to remember 3 cards. So as long as we've ever drawn one of each of these, Reno will still go off. And times when we need Reno in the late game, because Warriors are already pretty defensive, so Reno typically won't be needed until much later on. Hopefully we'll already have those cards drawn through our deck, particularly because we do have a lot of card draw with Battle Rage, Commanding Shout, and Acolyte of Pain. And then finally, Dr. Boom, he needs no introduction. Best card in the game. Incredible, perfect late game drop. And the Hearthstone Gods were amazing to give us Dr. Boom on our first ever Invalid deck challenge. So, now that we've ran through our deck, I have 3 cards that I want to swap out. I think I'm going to pass on the Reno activation, and I'm just going to look for value. And I'm not going to swap cards. I'm just going to remove the 3 worst cards and then find replacements for them. So Secret Keeper is definitely out. It's awful. I think I'm also just going to go ahead and scratch Tournament Attendee because I don't think we can be aggressive enough to use it. And then finally, I'm going to ditch Warsong Commander. It's because as a 3-drop, it's pretty terrible. So now when we look at our curve, it's pretty apparent that we have a gaping hole at the 3-mana spot. And I still actually think we need another 2-mana minion. I want this deck to be very reliable. Since it's not good, it needs to curve out very well. So I want to be certain that we have those early game drops. So I'm going to add 2 3-drops and 1 2-drop to the deck. Now I have to think about what I want those to be. As far as 2-drops go, I could actually swap in a Fiery War Axe. But we do have the Heroic Strike already. So that's kind of like a bad Fiery War Axe for removal. So I think I really still just want a minion. When it comes to warrior minions, there are a couple options at the 2-mana slot, particularly Armor Smith and Cruel Taskmaster. Armor Smith is good, but Armor Smith is powerful in the sense that you're buying yourself time and extending the game and trying to generate late game value. And that's not something that we want to do with this deck necessarily because we just don't have a reliable late game. It's not like Control Warrior where we have a ton of bombs. It's not like Patriot Warrior where we're looking for a really big turn. So I don't think Armor Smith is good for us. We want a more proactive minion that focuses on initiative as opposed to late game resources. Now Cruel Taskmaster actually does meet that end in a certain extent, that it can clear off minions and puts a reasonably okay body onto the board that trades it to attack. And it can even be used in the late game as well to activate some extra attack on like Tournament Medic or Axe Slinger. So it's also good with Acolyte of Pain. I think I am actually going to take the Cruel Taskmaster, but quickly I want to look at the 2-drops that are neutral to see if anything here stands out. So far, nothing looks great. Annoytron would be okay to have a taunt. Acidic Swamp Ooze could be nice to remove weapons. Explosive Sheep could provide us with more removal, perhaps. But I don't think it's necessary. Ironbeak Owl might be okay to have a silence to activate our Eerie statue. That's actually a thought. Jeweled Scarab wouldn't even be too bad just to give us extra draw options and generate more card value. But that said, after looking at all the 2-drops, I still think I like Cruel Taskmaster the best. It just fits a couple different ways with us. So we'll take Cruel Taskmaster. I now need a couple 3-drops as well. So I want 2 3-drops, remember, to fill in this curve. It's still going to be a little light on the 3-mana spot, but that's okay. 2 and 4-mana cards are actually more important than 3-mana cards in general. So 3-mana warrior cards are okay on average. Warsong is bad. Orgrimmar Aspirant is okay, but not fantastic. Frothing Berserker is a fantastic card, and it's good because it has good stats that keep it alive. It synergizes pretty well with a few different cards we have, like Whirlwind, Cruel Taskmaster, Battle Rage, Commanding Shout. I think I feel pretty good about adding 1 Frothing Berserker into the deck. And I also actually feel okay about adding a Fierce Monkey just because we don't have a taunt right now, I don't think. No, we don't have a taunt, and this could deny some early game aggression. So I may add 1 of each of these in, but I want to look real quickly at neutral 3-drops. BGH is never bad because it's just great removal for scary stuff, but we have an Execute, we have a Bouncing Blade, so hopefully we have enough removal. None of these cards so far look better than our warrior cards. Still not seeing any that look better. A King's Moogle or something might be okay, but Mind control attack could be okay. Raging Worgen actually is not bad with charge. But it still needs to be hit. So we could like charge, Raging Worgen, Cruel Taskmaster. It would have 6 attack, it'd have 8 attack, it'd do 16 damage from an empty hand for 3 cards. That might actually be even better than a Frothing. Just because that gives us a way to win games that we're not supposed to win. I think I'm going to take the Raging Worgen, and I'm actually still going to take the Frothing instead of the Fierce Monkey. Just because the value's here. And this almost has Taunt, right? Because it's so scary that opponents have to deal with it. So, okay, this is our Invalid deck challenge. Deck number 1. It's a Warrior. Take a screenshot of this list if you like. It's not very good. But we do have some options. We have ways to win the game with Raging Worgen. We have some late game threats. Our curve is solid, so I don't really know how this is going to work out because I've never done this before. You're right there with me for the first try, but I think this deck is actually capable of winning a game. It's just going to be tough. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and learn even more about Hearthstone by playing Invalid deck number 1 on the casual Hearthstone ladder. This is a grand moment in Hearthstone history. We're starting something new and hopefully fun and also educational. So I certainly appreciate your feedback in this video. Hopefully you're learning things and talking about the game in a way that adds some depth and some understanding to both cards and general strategy that you hadn't thought about in the past. So we have a Warlock. Who knows what kind of Warlock it will be? It's always a very difficult thing to tell in general. So we definitely don't want Charge. That's a late game card that we need later. Bloodfin's fine because we need early drops. Magnetar, I think, is probably better later on just because it's too susceptible to early game board jostling. In other words, if they have an early minion that could kill it really easily, we're going to lose value. But Axlinger as a 4-drop probably trades okay into the early game. So this is like Zoo. It might deny them a little bit. And we have the coin, so we might even be able to get it out of turn early if needed. So these are okay to have. Alright, so that's a fine hand. As far as this deck is concerned, I think this is a decent opening hand. Alright, Reno, so we can't use this yet until we've used our Battle Rage, our Siege Engine, and our Weaponsmith. So keep that in mind. I could coin out a 2-drop here. And I might actually do that just to give us board. It might leave us with an empty turn 3, which I'm willing to sacrifice just to start pumping out damage. Because I think our best way to win is looking for the Raging Worgen combo, or just rushing him down and combo with his life tap and hoping that he doesn't have heals or late game options. I don't want the game to run too long against a Warlock because every time he life taps, he's getting good cards. And every turn we're playing bad cards. So the longer he has time to generate value with life tap, the harder it's going to be for us to win with these below average cards. So I kind of want to just rush him down and force him to do something crazy. So yeah, this is what I said. We're going to have an empty turn 3. It's sad that we didn't get a 3-drop and we have 3 4-drops. I think I have to kill this just to maintain the board initiative. It's a little rough, but he's going to have like a Twilight Drake here and we're going to be in trouble. Even a Void Caller. So see, now we're just so behind. I have some options. I can Magnetar, but he has a pretty free trade on it if I do. I can Axlinger and it will probably live. It might die to Mortal Coil, but if it dies to Mortal Coil, I do 4 damage to its face, which is okay. So I think Axlinger is the best option here. I could Death Spite to set up the Whirlwind effect so that it's ready to trigger on Axlinger next turn, but I don't think I'm willing to do that just yet. It might be nice to have some Thoris and stuff going before we weapon up Plus weapons can surprise people. He's got to be so confused right now about what's happening with this deck. Man, I've predicted every move he's made. So he likely has a Reno. Yeah, maybe not if he's Dragon Warrior. Okay. Do I have an easy way to clear this? Not really. I just have to use the weapon and sack my minion here. So if we had like Charge Raging Organ in hand right now, we might be able to win the game. It would go to 6 damage, 12. Yeah, we'd win the game if we had a Charge Raging Organ. We don't have that, so we're not winning the game yet, but it would technically be possible. So we can't activate Reno yet. Thaurissan is good. It's not great. I can't decide if I want to clear off this Azure Drake or save this to go face later maybe. I guess I have to clear off the Azure Drake. That makes Thaurissan trade evenly into the board. And the Twilight Drake dies if he doesn't deal with Thaurissan, so that has to be the best play. But this hand's pretty weak. I may actually do something like Tournament Medic into Cruel into Battle Rage just to draw some cards. It's pretty tough. He gets an easy clear there. If I equip a 2/2 weapon, I have 3 mana remaining. I can kill this. But alternatively, it costs me 5 mana to play the Medic into the Cruel into the Battle Rage. And the Medic has 7 health remaining with 3 attack. Doesn't trade particularly well, but neither does the Weaponsmith. So we're on 2 cards for Reno now, by the way. I think I just do this and I have to draw some cards. We might hero power up to heal. We could actually execute as well. That's probably better. He might have other scary stuff, but I can't afford to stay behind forever. This thing's actually sort of resilient, so that's nice. Dark Bomb? Oh, Spell Power Mortal Girl. That's pretty good. He can actually trade in now. I don't have a way to deal with this other than the Weaponsmith, I guess. Oh, we've seen our Battle Rage too, so now we just need a Siege Engine and Reno's good to go. Oh, Whirlwind's sort of fortunate, isn't it? But maybe I just save the Whirlwind. I could Whirlwind go face with my new weapon and play Magnetar. That's 8, yeah. I guess that's the play. I don't see Whirlwind getting any extra value off this guy. I think I'm playing into a Reno, potentially, but no, it's probably not, because it's Dragon Warlock, so there might be a Malagos, though, that kills me before too long. But we're actually threatening lethal here soon. He's got to find an answer for this. Oh, that's practically a Reno. So yeah, that minion is interesting. I'll take that, that's fine. Magnetar Alpha is pretty intriguing just because people are scared of it, so they might use resources they otherwise wouldn't want to expend. So here, we can actually play our Reno now. He's activated, I believe, since we drew the Siege Engine. We don't want to yet, because we're not low enough. Since he's healed so much, I don't think I can continue going face, but I also don't feel very good about this. I might just Commanding Shout to draw a card for cycle, even though I'd like to use it to protect a minion later. I don't see how I can. We need our Dr. Boom, frankly, soon. Okay, that's something. If we get our Raging Worgen, we might be able to make a play. But we may not have an activator any longer. Our Deathspite's gone, our Cruel Taskmaster's gone, our Yeah, that's pretty good. Preserve the brand, so you may have future brand activators. Mukul is not good on an empty board. I think I just armor up pass. I have to save these things. I can buy time because I have Reno, so I'm not super worried about dying or anything yet. It's just he has so many cards, and they're much better cards than our cards, so we're going to be starved out before too long. That's intriguing. I might just kill that with my weapon and play Tall Strider, but Tall Strider does die to the board. Perhaps, no, I think I will. I think I'll kill this and play Tall Strider. There is a chance that we're dead to, like, Malagos. But it's not a risk I can actually take. I have to save Reno for as much value as possible. I may play him next turn if we go to like 12 or less. Perhaps even if we just take 4, I'll play him. I'd like a 2 or 3 drop to get some Mookless value. I don't want to just play this into that board. It dies too easily to Dark Bomb and so many different things.
I wield the power.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good with the brand. Forgot about that. So this is actually a good combo, but if I play these for 8 mana, I can hero power for 2 additional health. That puts me at 16. He has 9 showing. That means he only needs 7 damage. He's got Soulfires and Dark Bombs and Power Overwhelmings, perhaps. I'm a little scared to do that, but I think I have to. I do not think I can afford to play it safe or conservatively. I think I have to take some risks to win. Yeah, so we're dead.
Well played.
He's probably still... Yeah, we're dead to Malagos, so he drew it. So a Soulfire, anything kills us at this point. I guess it has to be a Soulfire. So even with the Soulfire, we were only 2 under. So he was exactly at the mana. We would have lived if not for the melee, but... Okay, so Invalid deck number 1 is now 0-1. We're going to try again. Warlock's going to be a tough class to beat with any of these Invalid deck challenges, just because it's so hard for us to compete with resources. We need to either rush them down or find a big swing turn where we win the game surprisingly. And that's harder to do the longer the game stretches on and the more cards they draw. Is this guy on my friends list? No, I think I know a guy this name though. Okay, so Haunt Creeper's fine. Heroic Strike actually I'm going to keep as well, just because if this is an aggro shaman, we might need it to kill a Tunnel Trog or a Totem Golem. So I'm going to keep that, get rid of that one. It's not that great right now. Eerie Statue's pretty bad just because I don't think it'll ever be activated. This one's okay as well. Probably play the Haunted Creeper next turn, depending on what he does. So we don't have to kill that with the Heroic Strike. It's not too threatening. It doesn't grow or do a lot of damage right now, so... Haunted Creeper will be fine. If he plays a Totem Golem here, I probably will Heroic Strike it. Don't have a turn 3 play anyway, so I hope he does. Cannot Heroic Strike those. It's a little sad. Even that doesn't really help us. I could use this to kill a Leper Gnome. Might be worth it. This is aggro shaman, so they're trying to rush us down really quickly. I'm gonna kill one Leper Gnome for sure. So I could cast Charge on one of these and kill another Leper Gnome, or even the, I guess the Sir Finley would probably be a little smarter, but I think I'll just hero power. Health is good against an aggro shaman, so we have the tournament medic as well, which could be really threatening to him. He might have to kill it. He'll feel like it's very threatening to his premise, which is doing lots and lots of damage to us. That's really good for us, actually. Even though he's drawing cards, it overloads him. and he didn't put anything extra on the board, so we have time to develop some stuff. And this is going to be so good, like I said. Plus, we have the Reno in the deck too, so if we draw all the requisite pieces for Renoing, we might be able to actually survive out and win this one. That would be fantastic. Next turn, we have 2 pieces of our combo here, by the way, which is pretty exciting. So I may just like Hero Power, Heroic Strike. I don't really know what's going to happen next turn just yet. Hero Power has become doubly good thanks to this guy, so the more I can weave in, the better. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. I'm going to Heroic Strike the Finley and Hero Power. I don't want to play a 3-mana card right now because I need them both for my combo later. So that's not a good play, by the way, killing a 1-drop that's been around for 3 turns with a 2-mana 4-damage spell, but I would like to get rid of it eventually because it does threaten my Spectral Spider. What? We did it! Invalid deck number 1 has won. It didn't make a rule about concessions, but I think that one counts because he saw the writing on the wall. We were healing 4 damage every turn. He didn't have removal for our tournament medic, and we actually got off to a pretty decent start that denied him. So, guess what? Invalid deck challenge has been passed this time around. Invalid deck number 1, you're a winner. Let's take a look at that deck one more time. Here it is in all its glory. We didn't even get to play our Dr. Boom, and we still won a game. So, Tournament Medic, maybe it has a pretty good chance at shutting out aggro. I can see why a few Control Warriors do run that card. So there you have it. That is, it's going to wrap it up. Since we won our game, we passed the challenge the first time around. This certainly won't be the last time I do this. I think it's a pretty entertaining and educational way to play Hearthstone. So let me know what you think in the comments if you thought this was a pretty neat idea. I appreciate the feedback and the encouragement. If you thought it was stupid or you didn't learn anything, yeah, let me know. It might make me change things or listen to your suggestions. So please do communicate what you think in the comments, and stay tuned because next time we will be tackling, I guess, Shaman. We'll just go in order for Invalid deck number 2 and a new challenge, and we'll see what that holds in store for us because we really never know what the Hearthstone gods have in mind when it comes to generating random decks. But thanks so much for watching and heading out on this new journey, and I appreciate all your time. And until next time, game on.